Any questions in the crowd from the presentations by Don, Miko, or myself? Let's not be shy. Yes, sir.
Yeah, so not a very complex question, I think, but in the header of the HDT, the data rate, is that the data rate the device should switch to, or the actual data rate that's being processed, that then later used to see what the connection quality is?
Wait, say that again?
So in the header file,
Yeah.
there's the data rate.
Right.
So is that the actual data rate or the data rate it's set to, like the package like 2M, 4M?
That's a good question. I'm not exactly sure, to be clear with you. The data rate so you start at the GFSK PHY, then you're going to switch to the HDT PHY, and the devices through their communication back and forth, they're going to rate adapt to the highest data rate that is achievable based on the link quality. So within the header, I think they're going to be communicating what the data rate is that they're actually going to be using for HDT.
Thank you. I think was from Miko, the second presentation. I'm not sure for the Bluetooth. I know it measures the distance, right? It measures distance. Does it only measure distance, or it also knows the direction? So I was not clear about that.
The channel sounding technology only gives you distance. So you don't know which direction the signal comes from. It tells you something is 2 meters away.
So it's a radius, basically.
Correct, yes. Now you can do advanced solutions where you measure the distance from few locations. Like in the PEPs, or passive entry, passive start, or the keyless entry for cars, kind of the high-end solutions, they're looking at putting 5 anchors in the vehicle. So we can do distance measurement from multiple locations, and then we can trilaterate for XY coordinates. You can also, the previous localization tool we gave you in the Bluetooth was direction finding. So you can combine direction finding, which gives you direction, and then do channel sounding, which gives you distance. So by combining those two technologies, you can get direction and distance, but it does get a little bit more complex as you need to use angle of arrival, angle of departure, and channel sounding together. So
okay.
Does that answer the question?
Yes, thank you.
So when we want to do channel sounding with multiple devices at once, so who is going to have the control over it? So is the central is going to have it, or the peripheral is going to have the control over it on the multiple devices which has to do the channel sounding with?
Typically it is the central device, which we also call as the initiator. Because you need to, let's say you have multiple channel soundings, you need to align them in time so they don't overlap. So typically it is the central device that does that, but we're also seeing scenarios where you have multiple, let's say in the keyless entry space, you have multiple key fobs, their peripherals connected to a central. So some of the vendors also want to introduce a smartphone to the picture. Yeah. And typical smartphones today, want to be central devices. So the likely scenario there is that the master in the vehicle needs to be a central to the key fobs and a peripheral to the phone, which does get a little bit more complex, but it is a solvable scenario.
Sure, thank you.
Put that back.
Any other questions from the audience?
No? Okay. Maybe we'll ask one or two questions of one another here to kind of just round this out here today. Maybe Don first, since we got a couple questions about channel sounding. Obviously, Bluetooth channel sounding is connection oriented, so that provides some level of constraints. But what are you guys? Maybe I'll have you both answer with thoughts on this. What are you guys' thoughts on Bluetooth channel sounding's applicability? I can't talk. In maybe a hybrid or multi-standard like LoRaWAN type deployment for specific applications or use cases where many of these products on the wall here support Bluetooth LoRaWAN. Is there applicability to maybe take advantage of that feature? Your thoughts, Don?
Yes, on channel sounding, actually, a lot of requests we get from customers these days are around asset monitoring, asset tracking. And because of that, channel sounding is a very exciting technology for us. So we'll definitely look at that in the roadmap. I think we mentioned angle of arrival, angle of departure previously, and I think what channel sounding, why channel sounding more exciting than that is because it doesn't require much on the hardware side, right? In terms of like changes compared to AOA, AOD. So it's definitely very exciting being able to go from room level location to being able to provide a more accurate level of locationing, let's say in a warehouse or something like that. That's very. I know it wasn't really designed for that use case per se, but it's one of the things which is great with Bluetooth is that you have that amazing toolkit and you can pick and choose the relevant building blocks. That you can then leverage for maybe a use case that wasn't the one that was originally intended, but actually benefits, in our case, the IoT space greatly. So yeah, very excited about that.
Yeah, I can comment as well. Is I said one of the businesses me and the team look after is asset tracking, and there's no one. I haven't at least seen a one-size-fits-all solution in the asset tracking space. And a good example, I watched the Iridium presentation yesterday, and they had a module which I think had Wi-Fi, cellular, and Iridium, and they said, when you're in the warehouse, when you have infrastructure available, they used Wi-Fi. We see a lot of companies doing, a lot of the enterprise infrastructure today actually has built-in Bluetooth, so I think almost every enterprise Wi-Fi vendor has a Bluetooth radio in their Wi-Fi access point, and a lot of companies can use that infrastructure, let's say in a warehouse scenario. But when you move out of the warehouse, that infrastructure disappears, and then something like LoRaWAN gives you longer range connectivity. When you move out of that context. So, especially in the asset tracking space, I think we still, we need multiple solutions, technology solutions, if we want to track things, from in the warehouse, on the road, all the way to the consumer doorstep. And channel sounding, it's we have a lot of people have interest in channel sounding for these warehouse asset tracking. It's not a thing in our toolbox which gives us better accuracy. It's still not, it's connection oriented. It has limits in scalability. It's still not the holy grail of this solution is going to solve all our asset tracking. But it's another great toolbox, and for some application it works fantastic, and for others it has still some things we need to improve.
Yeah, I think channel sounding will end up being a phased rollout feature, so I wouldn't be surprised to see additional enhancements down the line.
Yeah, I know we're working on them. So.
All right. Well, any other questions in the audience? All right. Well, just to conclude, Don, any parting thoughts you might want to leave with the audience? Open mic.
I think something you mentioned in one of your talks, and something that we're still super excited about, is how Bluetooth is growing in terms of absolute number of devices deployed. It's the most pervasive technology ever, maybe, but it's supported by a very exciting roadmap and enabling new use cases every day. For instance, the HDT, very exciting to us, right? We're a connection-oriented technology, so if we can like enable use cases where like you're driving past a device and you can roll out a bit of firmware update as you're driving past it. Very exciting to us, right? So it's a living technology. It's a great ecosystem, and I would invite the audience to try and like be part of this ecosystem because there's like they can enable you in building great IoT products.
Great. Miko?
Yeah, as to the community and audience is of course, always, give us feedback. What can we do to make the technology better, and what kind of use cases we're missing. What are you seeing? Where we can make Bluetooth or other technologies better to fit your needs and applications. There's discussion in the Bluetooth SIG community. A lot of this development we're seeing over here is done by the silicon vendors, because the fact is we need those radios in the phones, in the IoT devices, but the silicon vendors are not building end products, so we need a lot of community inputs and feedback to tell what changes things for you. So keep an open mind, come to Damon, anybody in the Bluetooth SIG community and tell us, what can we do better.
Yeah. And then just to conclude from the SIG side, this is our first time, of course, participating in this conference, but it's been a great experience. I hope that we can come back and participate again next year, maybe change things up, add a little new content, and talk about the multi-standard like deployment scenarios that Bluetooth can participate in, along with LoRaWAN and the other wireless technologies that are being evangelized here. So I'll just say, conclude by saying thank you very much for having us and letting us speak to you a little bit about Bluetooth and its broad applicability across the globe. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you very much.